Alright, hey guys, it's Parker. So today I wanted to go over deploying the cockpit kinetic release that I just posted on the forums. And then from there, we're actually just going to go straight into creating your own flist so that you can deploy your own version of cockpit or whatever else you need from an Ubuntu cloud image. And we're going to create all of that on the grid so that you don't have to have any specialized hardware at home other than your regular computer that you can SSH from. In order to do that, we're going to start out going to the hub to grab our image. And come down to my 3bot. Grab RC2. We're going to come over to play. Go ahead and log in here. Go ahead and make that bigger. Alright, so we're going to call this one Image Builder. We're going to come down to Other. And we're just going to paste that link address that we just got from here by right-clicking, copy link address. And paste that there. We're going to give this one 8 cores. We're going to give him 24 gigs of RAM just for fun. And guys, this will just really show you how easy this can be to just throw up something, work on it, and then move on. We're going to go ahead and hit deploy there. While we're doing that, we're going to go ahead and run over to the forums and open up the Cloud Images thread. We're going to need some stuff from here, but namely we're just going to go ahead and use the image first of all that he's suggesting here. This is for the 2004 Ubuntu server image. I'll copy that. Your deployment does take a little bit of time here, just a few minutes. Usually, it's going to take less than 5 or it'll time out, but usually just 2 to 3 minutes and it'll come up. So for this, you are going to need a couple tools. You're going to need WinSCP. That's just the very final step of this, requires this program so that you can export your image from your node that you're making it on onto your actual computer so that you can upload it to the hub. There is an API version of this where you could theoretically upload your image straight from the node onto the hub. I haven't quite figured that out yet though. Alright, so we're fully deployed there. So we're going to grab this IP. We're going to come into PuTTY. Remember we have to use our SSH key to authorize, so we're going to go in here, do agent forwarding, select our key. If you don't know how to get that key in there, I do a video on that. It's under SSH your node through PuTTY. That's just because I had another node running on the same IP earlier. Gonna log in here. Then we're just gonna do password root. And I'm gonna set a password on that account. Alright. Now we're gonna come up here. And we're gonna go to our server's address with 9090. Log in here. And that's going to log you into the new install of Cockpit. This does also have an Nginx server running on its web port. So if you go to this address without the 9090, you'll get the welcome screen. And from there, we're going to go straight into building an flist so that you can customize your own flist that you can deploy on the grid. This makes it super easy. We're just going to come here to the terminal first to get our image. So we're going to copy this. And then we're just going to cd to the root directory. Just make it easy to find. Paste that, and we're going to download that image. As you can see, we've got great performance on Node 219 here, pulling 30 megabytes a second. This is just going to download the cloud image for Ubuntu 2004 to our node so that we can work with it. Now that that is done, we're going to come over to virtual machines. We're going to do create new VM. We're going to name this 2004 cloud, just for fun. We're going to do a cloud-based image. Since we put it in the root directory, you just come down and select it. We'll choose focal. For this one, we're going to give this a 2500 megabyte image size. This is going to be kind of the resizing image step from the tutorial. This is going to create a image of 2500 megabytes so that we have some room to add stuff. We're going to set a root password here. And then we're going to go ahead and deploy that. And that's going to be creating that VM here. We can click on it. It'll bring us into here to the actual VM itself. Here you can see where we're storing the image for the VM as it's running. And as it boots, you'll also see the local IP for the VM down here. And you'll see why that's important here in a minute. I am going to go ahead and open up another window here so we can have the terminal accessible without having to switch tabs. This does take just a minute for it to boot up. And now you can see our image is booting up so that we can customize it. Alright, now we're going to log into this image. Using the password we just set during deployment. Alright, now this is going to be the cloud image that we could deploy to the grid as is, but let's say we want to have cockpit running on a 20.04 image instead of 2.1. So to do that, we're just going to do it in apt update so we can pull the updated repository list. And we're just going to do an install cockpit. And I did set the image size to 2600 because that's kind of my default size when I'm installing the machines package. I'm not going to do that here because it takes a little bit longer to install. So this image would be a little bit oversized, but it is worthwhile to make the image as small as possible for deployment on the grid. So make sure you're only setting that image size to as small as you need, or as big as you need. Alright, now we also want to make sure that we have the appropriate things running, namely SSH, so that when you deploy on the grid you can SSH in. To do that, let's check our config file. We're going to do nano /etc/ssh/ssh. config. Some things we want to make sure we are using is that we are set to prohibit password. I just like to unmark my important ones. Yeah, we're going to set that up. Then we're just going to do system control. Enable SSH.service. And for testing, we're going to do system control start SSHD. Now, the reason I say we're going to start it for testing is we're going to check the IP of this real quick. Do IPA. We're going to make sure it's responding to SSH request, so we can see that our IP address for this is 192.168.123.149. So we'll come over here and we'll do SSH 192.168.123.149, and it should reject our key, but we should get, a fingerprint. So even though it asks for the password, it's going to reject us because I don't have an appropriate key, but that shows that our SSH server is up and running. And then we're going to do system control enable cockpit.socket. Control start and cockpit. We're also going to do SSH keygen-a. And then we're going to do cloud init and clean. And then we're going to clear the root password with password root-d. And we're going to go ahead and shut this down. Alright, and that leaves a 1-minute shutdown timer, but now that we're going to shut that down with the root password cleared, we've done the cloud init clean, we've started up all of our necessary stuff. We're going to prepare to export this image to the grid. To do that, we're going to be using the two commands down here. From the tutorial, it's going to be the upload image to the hub section. So we're going to grab this one. You do want to wait for this to finish shutting down. If someone wants to comment the proper command that actually makes it shut down immediately instead of waiting 60 seconds, that'd be great. Alright, so now that that's shut down, we're going to come over to our terminal page. And we're going to paste that in. And what we're going to be using is we're going to copy the root to our QCOW2 image for the deployment. We're going to come back here and we're going to remove. First, let's do this. Let's make a directory so that we don't make a mess. So let's do make dir, and we'll just call this cockpit. Alright, and now we're going to grab that same command. We're going to paste that in here. And we're going to backspace or arrow over, and we're going to change this to the path to our image. And that's going to convert the QCOW2 image into the image.raw, and it's going to dump that image.raw into the cockpit folder here. And now we're going to tar that archive by grabbing this one. We're going to put that here. And we're still in the same directory, so we don't have to change the image.raw, but we're going to change this to cockpit 2004. Now, there is a way to make this output progress, but this doesn't have it in this command, so we won't leave it on. But what I will show you is how we're going to get this image off of the drive once we have finished making it. So we're going to use WinSCP. I've already got workspaces set up for these, so we'll just log in here. This is going to bring us to the root directory. If we come down, we will see our cockpit tar.gz and our image.raw here. You can see that it's still creating the tar, so its file size is changing. It's going to come out to, there we go, right about 658. So we're just going to pull that down to my local machine here onto my drive that I use to store those. And then that's going to be right there. So we'll come over to the hub. I'll have to log in here. Just going to authenticate off screen. It's going to bring us here. Then we're going to go ahead and upload our cloud image. So we're going to choose our file that we just pulled down to our local drive. Hit upload. This does take a few minutes here. Obviously, you're just uploading a 600 megabyte file, so depending on your connection, will determine how fast this goes. But once you have finished uploading this, you'll be able to go back to your repository, select the link just like we did with the current cockpit image that we just deployed on to make this one, and then deploy your own cloud image customized as you need it. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and enjoy deploying and farming on Threefold.